Welcome to Truth by Billie Beene. Today's date, December 14, 2025, time in Texas, about 10 a.m. Some of my sources I'll use today: God in the Bible, Patriot, subscribers, Cyber Signals, DQuaYLE's Aggregate Site, DUSCERN Report, Hal Turner, Israeli News Live Plus. And baby, it's going to be cold. And we've had a tragic shooting at the Brown University in Rhode Island. President Trump rescues children in Venezuela. And in Houston, a slave auction has been disruptive. And the FBI is investigating corruption in Ukraine. So let's get started. So we're going to begin with a Hopi prophecy. This is about the blue kachina given centuries ago to signal a time of purification on the earth and coming around in natural cycles for the earth. That includes increased earthquakes, volcanoes, things going on in space, impacts on Earth. And we do see something blue in the sky with Atlas coming around. It's going to be the closest to the Earth, according to NASA, December 19. Now, Steve Bannon, Israeli News Live, he was former CIA, now has a ministry, states that he believes Atlas is a man, we could say man-made, but we're talking about fallen angels and Nephilim. So we could say ET made, so that Atlas is an ET object put in space by the fallen angels and Nephilim, who certainly have space technology, to mimic or bring about, something like the Blue Beam Project. So the fallen angels and Nephilim can say, yes, the ETs created humans, and so on. And we see Dr. Stephen Greer, he's a medical doctor who has taken a bold step in disclosure for decades, believes that Atlas is synonymous with the deep state, and the deep state would be the fallen angels and Nephilim. Now, Stephen Bannon believes it's going to be a real event that could occur in 2026. Possibly prompting more widespread disclosure about the ETs, which I know in the United States, I would say 75 to 80% of Americans believe that ETs are real, because many have been taught through their Christian churches that the ETs are indeed what the Bible speaks of, fallen angels and the Nephilim. This is when the fallen angels mated with human women and produced hybrids. And I've put this forth before. The Nephilim are unredeemable because they don't receive the Spirit of God. They cannot communicate with God, and they were not created by God. So that's going on. We have this weather report from Ryan Hall, that we could have life-threatening cold weather coming up for the next 7 to 10 days, with some lows in the U.S. feel like temperatures of 50 below zero. In South Dakota and Minnesota, Ryan Hall puts forth that we could see, and also Chicago, minus 15 degrees and minus 10 degrees below 0 Fahrenheit. and that also this cold will extend down into Indianapolis, Louisville, Kentucky, and New York. So that's going on. And I saw a report on Facebook this morning talking about a blizzard that took place in Red Deer, Canada, decades ago, where the actual temperature was 100 degrees below 0 Fahrenheit. People actually froze to death inside their homes if their heat wasn't functioning. So that's going on. And it will cover about 3/4 of the U.S., with the lower South states escaping the bitter cold. Although along South Texas, Houston, we're expecting freezing temperatures today. But as far as I know, in Texas, along the South Coast, we've never experienced 0 degrees. Praise the Lord. We have this going on. Let's find out. From Stephen Burns, geophysicist, talking about what's coming up and we're seeing in space. Now today, we do have coronal holes on the sun facing the Earth, but no flaring is taking place. We do continue to receive from the solar wind increased proton saturation of the Earth down to ground level. And we can expect to see increased earthquake activity, including Japan. Now, Stephen Burns and other geophysicists are predicting a soon megaquake in Japan, possibly a 9 to 10, which would then definitely impact with tsunamis and increased earthquake activity the U.S. West Coast, Alaska, Hawaii, Guam, and so on. So that's going on. And we have this. Yeah, Japan, we know, recently had, they had a 7.6 and then a 6.7. And then they had a third 6.7. 6 miles deep. That happened December 12. Nope, this was a 5.6. So we see continued activity around Japan. And we have this. I have a Patriot subscriber. I put out in my last video that we had information from Alex KRAINER, a European journalist, that European billionaires were sending money into the U.S., Soros, MoveOn.org, to juice up and pay protesters inside the U.S. in an attempt to overthrow the U.S. government, including Black Lives Matter and so on. And I have my Patriot subscriber says, for billionaires to send money in to the U.S. from foreign nations constitutes foreign interference. And I couldn't agree more. And we have this. BLM, and this foreign money would have been funneled down to anti-government organizations in the U.S. like BLM. BLM Executive Director Toshiba Dickerson, located in Oklahoma, has been charged with fraud and money laundering up to $2 to $3 million. So we can believe that. And we have this. Stikos aggregate site DUSCERN report talking about the shooting at Brown University that took place in Rhode Island, up in the northeast corner of the U.S. that happened on Saturday. We have 2 dead and 9 wounded and in critical condition. And initially, reports came out that a suspect had been arrested, but now reports are coming out that no, the suspect has not been arrested. Now, a video of a suspect has been released, and we see the back of a man dressed in black, appearing to be stocky. He could have had, Velcro, the bullet-stopping equipment on that made him look stocky, but he looked stocky. I judged his age to be in the 30s, and it shows an individual who had just shot dead 2 and wounded 9 inside an engineering classroom where a final exam was being administered. But it shows him calmly walking out onto the street. My perception of this individual is that he is a professional hitman, so it will be interesting to see who it is he killed. So that's going on. And we're hearing conflicting reports again, what Brown University is doing. Some reports say they've stopped all final exams and have told students to go home. So I guess that would mean you would be off the hook for your final. Nevertheless, our hearts, thoughts, and prayers go out to the families of these 2 young students who were killed and the 9 who are critically injured and are fighting for their lives right now. So that's going on. We have this, drill, baby, drill. We know President Trump promised us that. And President Trump has taken down all of the JB anti-drilling efforts and taken down all laws passed in the term of JB, which are definitely suspect due to the auto pin, and has opened drilling in North Dakota, Montana, Alaska, Wyoming. So that's going on. And as I recently reported, in Wyoming, we have 3 new mining operations for rare earth minerals also put in place by our great President Trump, who wants to make America great again. And we have this regarding animals. President Trump has canceled a contract amounts of up to $28 million to do testing on animals. That's canceled. Plus, HHS is now moving to ban all animal testing at the CDC. So that's going on. We have this. Yes, near Houston recently, there was, in October, an actual human slave auction where the rich and powerful came to bid and buy human beings. There were 62 victims, ages 8 to 43, and they were taken down by the FBI, Homeland Security, and Texas law enforcement. And the cost, you might wonder, of these human beings ranges from $1,000 to $5,000 per person. So that's going on. 71 arrests were made. This includes 8 people who were operating the auction, 43 buyers, and 20 security people. You know, the rich travel around with their own security. So way to go, President Trump. We have Cyber Signal talking about an operation by ICE FBI Plus, taking down and arresting a Somali hospital director in Ohio, Anaya Hassan. The hospital was engaged in organ harvesting and manufacturing and distributing fentanyl. So that's going on. And patients who appeared to be near death or critical were euthanized and then their organs harvested. This was on behalf of the cartel, CNJC and Sinaloa. So we see once again a Somali refugee engaged in organ harvesting and drug distribution. We have this, President Trump. Yes, recently President Trump ordered the seizing of a Venezuela ghost oil tanker in the Caribbean. And besides the oil on it, it was determined by the operation that was operated by the U.S. Navy SEALs, Department of Homeland Security, FBI, Coast Guard, and Marine Special Ops. On board the ghost oil tanker, they found oil. They also found 5 terrified children who had been kidnapped. And they also found weapons, Kalashnikovs, and cocaine. So way to go, President Trump. And now we have this. We have from Hal Turner. So we have the U.S. military putting some finishing touches on what's going on in the Caribbean to come against Venezuela. And we have that, we have CENTCOM and INDOPACOM sending in additional equipment that includes strike and surveillance planes, such as F-35s and Growlers. We have combat rescue, search and rescue, Jolly Green helicopters going in. We have 6 KC-135 refuelers going to the Dominican Republic. We have MQ drones flying over Venezuela. We have advanced radar now operating in Trinidad and Tobago, 2 small islands. So we see increased operations in the Dominican Republic, Puerto Rico, Trinidad, Tobago, the middle of the Caribbean. We have the Gerald Ford Strike Carrier Group. We still have a NOTAM, 200 miles long, operating off of the east coast of the U.S. to be in place for several months. So that's going on. And that information came from Hal Turner. We have CRUX reporting. In Syria, Saturday, we had 2 U.S. military troops killed and 1 American civilian interpreter. President Trump has made a public statement regarding this. They were killed. It was a joint U.S. and Syria operation. They were ambushed by ISIS. President Trump reports the U.S. military will retaliate against ISIS. And once again, our hearts, thoughts, and prayers go out to the families of our U.S. military who are bravely dying in the cause of maintaining security in and around the world. We have this from PROMETHEON Update. FBI, Kash Patel and Don Bongino are operating inside or they are guiding investigations inside Ukraine with regard to Ukraine corruption. We've already seen a close aide and advisor to Zelensky removed from his position, and as far as I know, he's left Ukraine, Yermak. But it's coming out that additional people involved in the corruption in Ukraine have also been removed. This corruption involves the funneling of U.S. money sent to Ukraine to support its government and people being put into the greedy pockets of Zelensky, Yermak, and others. So that's going on. We do have in Ukraine, Russia capturing another major city, Syryansk. And we have Rutte, the head of NATO, making questionable statements, saying that Europe must prep for war with Russia. And reports are that Europe doesn't have anything that Russia wants. So that's going on. We have this from Hal Turner also. So inside Ukraine, we had Keir Starmer, the leader of the UK, coming out and making a public statement that yes, UK does have troops inside Ukraine, boots on the ground, fighting directly against Russia. And that we had one UK paratrooper killed recently inside Ukraine, but there have been many others. So that's going on. What's different is Keir Starmer is saying yes, the UK does have troops on the ground actively fighting against Russia. This was Lance Corporal Holly, 28, a paratrooper. And Starmer also said there are currently 100 paratroopers plus special forces, UK special forces, inside Ukraine fighting against Russia. So that's going on. And we have this. We have that Russia takes surveillance that happened in the past few days, and rumors are that Ukraine troops are disguising themselves as women so they can cross the border into Russia to seek asylum. So that's going on. It's good to be in prayer for America, President Trump, the U.S. military, and world peace. I love you, and I'll see you soon.